In game one, Takada, we saw a few of our favorites to win on day one, win the FNCS, go down very, very early, even some before placement points begin to set in. This is 12 games throughout 2 days. You do not want to fall in the hole early because that's where any team at the top of the leaderboard will take advantage.
Aqua and Noah looking uncontested as we switch over to the contrary. Mongrel, Mr. Savage up against Nate and Lane. It did not go the way of Mr. Savage and Mongrel in the first match, but will they be able to come out on top here?
You have to be careful though, because throughout the semifinals as well, that third party just right across has played a role, but Savage is going to be the first one drop, leaving a lot of pressure onto Mongrel to try to clutch up. Lane is still on that chase, and there's no shotgun in the inventory of Mongrel either.
It's been 1,209 days since Mongrel has competed in an FNCS finals. And does he still have it? Gets the first knock. Back into a 1 versus 1 situation. He's looking to take it.
Yep. This is where Nate could play some mind games over there. Try to go for the res. Bait Mongrel to go to him. But the choice is definitely his. Mongrel still crowding around, trying to get materials. And the third party that I talked about comes to fruition. Locks, rotates on over, and now Mongrel has to be careful. Lazen is here as well. They're in another 2v1, and they know what teams land here, and they know exactly how this fight goes, and now it's theirs for the taking.
A blessing is what Mongrel needs. Both players, 200 effective HP and shield. Mongrel now made some footsteps, made the noise as he has found some crash pads for the disengagement, but the crash pad gets broken. Mongrel as well. Both players now contesting each other. Both duos have been eliminated.
That was another team. That wasn't even the ones that landed just outside of Ship It Station that usually try to third party. They went somewhere else, and they're really trying to cause disruption and get points where they can, but King's gonna get dropped. Phaser's trying to save the day. He gets a trade onto Lunex, bringing it down to a 1v1, but no heals. Monier's gonna try to continue that pressure, so Phaser needs to figure out a way to reposition and get on the offensive.
Moni leading this fight in terms of effective HP and shield, but one big pump shot is going to be all it takes to take him out. Currently now, King and Phaser, Lunix, Moni 1-1 at the drop spot.
And this is where we begin to talk about that consistency over the next 2 days, because things like this, especially when you're contested, will happen. Another one of our contested fights, Thomas just getting tagged up. Him and Queasy, they were able to come out on top in that first game, and already it's looking good in game 2 as well.
You can see how Queasy was able to finish it off, making use of that frenzy shotgun. Thomas as well making it out with a sliver of HP, but now with that Reaper sniper in hand, the 2 eliminations off the bat, they have a lot more freedom to continue their game.
Yeah, Levin said something to start the show. He said Venno was the best sniper in Fortnite, and I think a lot of people at home have been looking for the past couple years. This guy right here, Thomas, now that he has that sniper, he can prove everybody wrong and really cement himself as probably one of the best snipers in Fortnite history, especially now that they have a chance to loot up, gain their resources, any utility now that Lavish Layer is theirs.
Look, you're saying Thomas, Levin's saying Venno. I'm saying King is the best sniper.
Whoa.
Coming from the Brazilian region as well, where the players tend to use more sniper rifles than any other region. I think he might be the leader, but what we have to do is wait and see. It's 2 days of competition, 12 matches to be played out, as once again, the battle for the Forecast Tower. Kiduo Kiro up against Pink and Vico. Nobody was able to claim it in the last one, but we might see something different here.
Yeah, and you can see both of these teams really make this a part of their game plan. Instead of farming, going your split drops, getting as much loot, they get the bare minimum, start to rotate on over and try to claim it for themselves first. Kiro, Kudo, split up, one having the high ground, one having a different angle, and that's usually how they approach this fight when Pink and Vico does beat them there first, but a risky play to try to overtake the high ground. Vico's gonna steal it, push Kiduo off, and now they have a separate 2v1 on their low ground. They just don't know exactly where Kiro's at.
You can tell how much these duos want to show their dominance in this early game, and Kiduo now shot 23 times for 25 blue. unable to get cracked yet. Still has shield. Now the crack comes through. The knock comes through. Upper hand for Pink and Vico. The 2v1. Will they continue the pressure?
Yep. Definitely have the choice here, especially now that they're going to be able to kind of claim this all to themselves. It hasn't spawned in just yet, so in theory, if they don't chase him away, he could grab that reboot card and try to have a second chance at this, but with no shields and no real possibility to do this, I do believe Pink and Vico might be able to claim this for themselves unless any other team wants to rotate in that direction. Diox, Cade, we saw them get into the final 3 of that last game, and already it's looking great to start this off in game 2. A full-on squad wipe towards Ruined Reels. That's going to give them confidence and momentum here.
Actually took out IR Boffo, who we talked about Mongrel, but the last time he competed in FNCS finals was 1,209 days ago. But for IR Boffo, it was actually 1,286. It's been longer than when Mongrel last competed in an FNCS finals. You can see how many veterans are here today, still competing at a top level. Our game 1 victors, Aryan and Lokeed.
Because that's back-to-back games now that they have won on the FNCS stage. This goes back to the game 3 of the semis in the lower bracket where they won that game to push themselves into that top 15 just to make it to this stage. So we talked about so many teams being on fire, having the limelight. Well, that's a team that deserves it with how well they've been playing.
Pink and Vico, we go back to the brawl now, as it looks like they will be closer and closer to securing this forecast tower, but the third parties are coming through. It's Yanis, it's Flixie, and that screams danger.
Yep, and we know how well they've been performing leading up until this day, and this could be a big fight right here for the forecast tower, because this could be what pushes them over the edge to kind of take game 2 here of the FNCS. But with the high ground, they still have some adversity to face, and having to figure out how they're going to get down low to Pink and Vico, how they're even going to get the NPC. And I don't think it's going to be a safe possibility. There's too much risk involved. So it does look like Fixie and Yanis from Reckless Railway is going to disengage on out and basically start on over where they began.
One of the most important parts to grand finals is there are set lobbies, and you can have a general idea of, you know, who's dropping on you, who's landing in the surrounding area, and who are taking those fights for the forecast towers or even for big objectives, mythic items. And if you're looking in the feed and you see the 2 duos that are going head to head, one player of each team gets knocked down, you know now there are 2 solos battling it out, and you can capitalize on that situation. I'm sure Flixie and Yanis kind of saw that Pink and Vico took out one of their opponents, but they knew it was still a duo, so it wasn't enough to play extra aggressive. For Noah and Aqua, though, starting off so high up in the first match, controlling height down to the 2nd place. Even though they didn't win the match, it's a game of consistency, being 2 days of competition. So you know they're more than happy with that way to start it off.
You know, I'm kind of looking at them in this game to kind of figure out what's the mental toughness, right? You could be happy that you got that top 3, you're in 3rd place, but it's all about, can you have that mental composure to realize that opportunity slipped through your hands, and instead of being 1st place on the leaderboard, you are positioned in 3rd. But we'll figure out how they can continue to compose themselves as we jump on board Venno and Tayson. From Grand Glacier, you see them rotating around, using a lot of those static launch pads for mobility. That allows them the elevation to figure out where a lot of these teams are positioned at as well. And from what we saw in last game, Surge is going to be a problem for them. It happened in game 1, and with nobody nearby here in game 2, you got to imagine it's going to be the same thing.
Edge of the map here, you can see a few duos in the surrounding area taking shots at each other. Camiseti, Aqua, Noah. Even another duo up north here. You can see, though, in terms of materials, they've done a great job. Almost full up on metal. Have some of their bases built already. As Zone has pulled closer. Snipe shot. Unable to connect from Cami. Only 7 more in the chamber. And with so much of the match left, you do not want to waste those shots.
I was wondering, he left the med kit up there, and I was like, what does Cami and Seti have in their mind? Well, they have a ton of different heals scattered around their drop spots, is kind of saving it for later. Weapon cache is starting to appear for a lot of these teams. It does look like Reason and Video might have shared one with Noah and Aqua, with Noah and Aqua being the ones to collect that and all that loot. And you got to think, look at the materials right now. It isn't necessarily too bad for Verdeel and Reason, but they definitely still have more work to do, and where they're going to get the metal is going to be the question for me.
That is a difficult resource, the most scarce one on the map, and usually these players will have routes for everything, for Storm Surge, for right off the drop spot, how to maximize efficiency to get as much loot as possible, but also be put in an advantageous position against your opponents if you're contested, and even were to farm up that metal, as it's so crucial later in the match. We've also seen a lot of bushes being put to good use, especially if you have a sniper rifle like Flixie does have in hand. You can see almost like Kemi and Seti here with the amount of spare loot they have. They're like squirrels hiding all their nuts, all their precious items around their drop spot, as all it takes is one quick sniper shot. I'm wondering here if, I mean, the wood structures are kind of on purpose, as it's going to block those shots from opponents taking blind shots into the builds, but at the same time open up opportunities for you to peek.
And you could see, though, I like the way you said, I feel like we're two peas in a pod sometimes, because I'm looking at those builds. You see some of them are kind of edited down just a little bit to try to minimize the amount of coverage that they won't be able to kind of shoot shots from while still being able to protect themselves outside of the box. I haven't seen that too much from players that are camping in a lot of these bushes. See if the trend does continue, because that's usually what happens. A lot of the tricks are saved for moments like this, and then everybody immediately starts to adapt, steal strategies, use whatever they can get their hands on.
Once again, you can see Vaniac, Sined, they have their planned route. They always make up kind of a tower on one of the mountains around their drop spots, specifically in areas where they believe their opponents will rotate through. But their opponents learn this as time goes on, and they know that there's going to be a duo positioned around that area taking shots at them, so they will try and use the environment to kind of take cover from that and even use a bit more builds. Pixie, though, look at this. 5 medkits, Jacob. So early on, you can wonder what they're going to want to do in the late game.
He's definitely ready for this meta. It does come down to a heal-off scenario. He has about 2 games worth at this stage. Walks and Pixie just kind of looking around. You see they do have that snooty steps hammer pump. So you got to imagine they have the medallion along with them as well. About 4 or 5 teams on the outskirts out of zone, a couple more just inside the zone as well. So they're going to make their rotation early so they don't get stuck in a lot of the chaos that's down there. Pink and Vico, different plans in mind. Venno, Tayson, slowly but surely, once again, creeping up on their spot. And you can see what both of these teams are fighting for right there on the ground, which was claimed by Venno and Tayson, which was yet another weapons cache.
The altercation from the forecast tower third party to now the combat cache, as both teams could always use a bit more damage. Rift Island has even appeared close by, so they have different options to go towards. Question is, what's on their mind? Storm Surge now appears. They're gonna see exactly how comfortable or stressful the situation is, depending on how much damage they might need. But this time around at the Rift Island, instead of 3 duos contesting it at the same time, there's only one. Clown, Girls, and they've even secured the flag already. Quite free for this duo.
You see him choosing the loot, switching out the shotgun. Do I want the frenzy? What are you taking in a situation like this? Purple frenzy, gold hammer pump?
Look, I'm a hammer.
He doesn't know.
Type of person, but you can see, yeah, I mean, still making decisions. You know, do I take the extra stack of medkits? Do I leave some? Do I box them up and continue looking for shots? As 0 elims on the board, you know they're gonna need damage. 38 duos, 74 players. I mean, there are a lot of teams being contested right off the start, so it's not as stacked in these initial zones as we've seen previously when there's not as many people getting contested. But at the same time, once those initial engagements finish off, not a lot of teams end up getting eliminated after.
You can see Pablo, Bevy's just outside. They need to be careful because really susceptible to a snipe from Loot Island if they do want to look in that direction. You can see spotting out where players are positioned at, and they're like right in the middle. They can rotate back towards Rift Island, try to grab one of those rifts that are around. They can rotate to zone, try to beat everybody there. The choice is definitely theirs, and for Pablo and Bevies, this is definitely a great position to be in, to have so much control over your destiny at this stage in the game.
Let's take a look here. Walks, Pixie, what they were able to do.
Oh no.
Quick crash pad right into Vortexer's box, taking him down. Volko. Now, was he able to escape? Was he not? Either way, that's a huge elim.
And those are the plays I love to see with the crash pad. Hides all the audio. You can sneak up on a player just like that. Even when they're rotating with each other, that little bit of separation is all it takes to find just a little nifty elimination like that. Han and Vasquez. Center zone is what it looks like, high up on the mountain. 110, nice snipe shot. Even threading some assault rifle shots through to get even more damage for their Storm Surge. Positioned well. Venno, though, fighting from the low ground against Pablo and Bevies, who we've literally seen moments ago. And I kind of asked this question to start the game. What is their plan for Surge? They are going to be a below, but with a snipe like that, that's definitely going to help Venno and Tayson get above the damage threshold.
We were talking about it. Venno has been hitting some insane shots these days. Can he keep it up in the grand finals when the pressure is on? That one sniper shot put him above. As now Bevies. Uh-oh, be careful, Bevies. You've gotten stuck. 34 now, cracked, no shield to work with. Venno gets the knock. Pablo is taken out. Bevies is low on HP. But this is huge for Tayson and Venno.
Yep, Steven snipes the body, max damage. Just trying to get as much as they can when it comes to Surge. Bevy nearby, but Bevy's time is ticking. He doesn't have any HP. He's below on Surge. And he can't necessarily even rotate first because there's 3 teams waiting for him on the other side. This is going to be his golden opportunity. Lands the shot onto Venno. No heals left over. Bevy needs a miracle if he's going to try to make it to zone. And it's not going to happen. He goes down. Venno, Tayson strike again.
A little elim airdrop package from above for Venno and Tayson. I'm sure they heard that elimination. They could scavenge the rest of the loot. They're just on the edge here. They're not even too far from making it in, so you can see they're healing up, getting healthy before rotating back in. Aqua Noah, though, currently only 4 below the threshold, forced to pop those floppers, to pop that Flowberry Fizz, as just one shot is what they need. They have that smart pistol. It locks onto your opponents, but for that, they need to peek.
So you just need somebody to peek, and that was the opportunity, but aims just a little too late. Doesn't get the timing. Forced to crash pad. Noah's trying to lead the way, but even he's a short distance away from his opponents. Finally, Aqua's going to land a couple shots with that smart pistol, get him ahead of the threshold, but Noah goes down to Reason, trying to play desperation to get some Storm Surge, and it cost him everything.
Now with no duo partner, Aqua scavenging the materials, but from behind, Fadil finishing off his second match of the day, as they'll now have a bit more freedom on how they want to rotate in here. Looks like it's going to be a flow.
Too much action going down around the map. This is around the time where Venno, Tayson were taking down Pablo. Seda was able to take down Buell, but gets beamed in the back by Swidzy and Pootrick. No HP to regain, so he cannot stay in the zone for too much longer. And now they're positioned against 2 hungry players, Vico and Pink. Not the best placing in game 1, but at least they were able to pull out a 16th place.
I believe they have the forecast tower this match, so they do know where these next zones are pulling. You can see how well they've already positioned themselves in this 7th zone. And their duos, or not the duos, but their opponents in the areas might be wondering, you know, do they know something that we don't? Should we be following them as they continue to rotate? Good amount of materials, decent amount of shield. As we look back over, Thomas HD. Now look, Jacob. Thomas HD. 14 top 10s. 10 top 5s. 7 top 3s in FNCS finals. But yet to take one home. Yet to lift up that trophy. And now with 5 elims on the board, could this be the tournament?
Yeah, I kind of made a bold call, probably along with everybody else in Fortnite, thinking this could be the Thomas HD season. He has yet to win one, but he has also come so close so many times. It's almost painful at this point, no matter how well you're performing. If you ain't first, I don't want it. That's probably what Thomas is thinking now at this stage
You know
of the
how
game.
much he wants it. You know.
Especially with global championship spots up for grabs after this weekend. They could be the first ones to claim it as their own.
That is the question. That is the question. But with so many titans, so many legends from Fortnite competitive competing here today, it's harder than ever to take a spot at globals. I drop Nebs though. 368 above. They're feeling quite healthy here as Art Skill is going to be able to.
I drop and Nebs. We really know what they're capable of. They can pop off at the biggest moments. Sometimes when things don't go their way, it's hard for them to kind of get back on track. But like you said, 368 damage above the threshold. Very little for them to do. It's just kind of biding their time, waiting the next couple of seconds for zone to move forward before they figure out where their rotation is going to come from. And already you're seeing them lining up a crash pad play, even though they do have some grapple blades.
Waiting for the perfect moment. They hear their shots. They know that Storm Surge is active and it's going to cause the aggression from the players that are below. For Hen and Ski though, already 1 elim on the board. Grapple blading ahead of zone. Will they build up though? They have an opportunity for elevation. Are they going to take it? It looks like Ski's already boxed up. Almost full low here. A whole duo on top of him as he's forced to wait for the regroup.
Yeah, they went on the right side of the zone where it opened up, giving them more space to work with. As they're above damage on threshold, you see a lot of teams around them may not necessarily be as safe as they are. Get an early peek at high ground. Swizzy Pootrick. Might be too soon to tell if they can hold on to it. At least that's the way the trend has been going all FNCS long, even from the open qualifiers to the semifinals into this stage here that we saw in game one. You hold on to it too soon, a team will more than likely at least try to battle you for it.
I mean, it worked out for Aqua and Noah in game one. Got them all the way to second place before they had to take that engagement. Issue was for Aqua and Noah, all they had was one flopper, no medkits. And on the contrary, I believe I did see 3 medkits in one of the inventories up there in the clouds. So hopefully they can hold on as all they'll need is materials. And now, 9th zone, first moving, commencing.
Yeah, majority of the lobby having a far pool. Flitzy taking some shots, but not anything to get scared about. Vico Pink, they have different plans in mind, trying to get to the box. Art Skill stuck by himself, unable to really land the damage for the elimination, but I love the aggression coming out of Vico and Pink when they need it most. They cannot run out of material. Vidil, Reason in a similar spot, but they've got themselves space and time to pop the medkits. It's the shields that they're lacking, though.
Does Resin have a Flowberry Fizz? I see him take it out now.
Yes.
It's gonna be enough to recuperate a bit of shield, even give them that boost to continue rotating through. They're above, they're getting healthier. They have a couple eliminations and a good amount of materials. You can see now as the tarps continue, so does the pressure. Queasy knocked down. It's all up to Thomas now.
He snatched that medallion at the last second, and on the receiving end of the Mythic Frenzy, all but just a sliver of HP, but he gets forced back to the zone. That's where Thomas is going to get credit for that knock, and you see him going back, trying to get the materials, maxed up on loot as well. He's definitely cementing himself to have a big game here as a solo.
Oh, 3 medkits for Thomas HD, full materials. This is what he needs to continue forwards. He can even play the heal off if he's able to make it far enough. 17 duos are up, 30 players.
Multiple medallions as well. The list of things that are going right for Thomas, other than him being a solo, is there. Nebs and iDrop trying to break to the back of the zone, the back of the box. They get confused momentarily as iDrop takes a huge amount of damage trying to make his way in. This is where they're going to stagger themselves. Flowberry Fizz, and say hop their way to the front side of the zone.
Still on high ground. I believe it's Swizzy Pootrick. They've been maintaining it, but I drop Nebs, their second height, as the pressure from above is gonna be raining down shortly. The zone pulling over water. Tace and Veno close to second as Thomas is still going strong.
Yep, he's looking probably the toughest solo player here, even separating himself from everybody else. Veno, Tace, and make a shot at the high ground. It drops down and it turns on its side. They're the ones who went in for the elimination. Veno stuck to the outside of the zone, 15 HP, running out of build, but finds a huge blind fire with the Reaper, unable to get the knock, but he's still trying to chase that elimination as he runs out of builds.
Just 15 HP, and it's gonna be the one shot to take him out. Vico now left as a solo as well, gone down, eliminated. It's Thomas HD. He's still going.
This is a solo that everybody knows that can put up some big points. 6 eliminations by himself, 8 as a team. A 9th's gonna be found as Lunex goes down, but Monier is trying to save the day. Swizzy towards the outside as well. There's where all Thomas's loot is gonna go, to the west side as he gets pressured from the high ground.
Winnable for Thomas HD. He has 3 medkits. He can play the heal off. All he needs to do is stay up until that last zone. With 8 or 7 eliminations to his lane, he is on fire.
Yeah, everybody here is solos but one team, and it might be the high ground team. This could be a great chance for Thomas to win this game. Taking a tick in the zone, that's going to allow him to start the heal off just a second earlier as iDrop's trying to creep around below. Thomas spots him out, makes him run into the next box. This is where everybody's getting closer and closer together, running out of time here at the end.
Huge for Thomas HD. That's 8, but he gets dropped down. He gets eliminated. The medkits go to iDrop. It's now 2 duos up, 2 versus 1. Will iDrop have the space to pop the medkit? Yanis, Flixie taking shots, taking the elimination, and getting the VR for game 2.
No medkits, no heals, no problem for Yanis and Flixie. And they even saw that person trying to heal off, thunder bursting straight into the box to cancel the medkit and steal the game away. Yanis and Flixie are looking like the Titans on top of the mountain now.
They were dominating in this recent match. I'm not sure exactly when they were able to overthrow high ground, but there was so many solos down below that just having that chemistry, having both players up, was enough to give them that advantage to secure the win.
Just looking, Flixie just looking smooth, calm, cool, collected, backside of the zone. And this is where they knew it was all over for iDrop. Had him trapped, and as soon as they saw the audio visuals of the medkit going off, they beamed into the box to take him down.
That's a huge way to start off game 2 for Yanis and Flixie. They were unable to secure the first VR, but now you know they're feeling happier and more motivated than ever. But this is just the beginning, Jacob. They have a long ways to go.
Yep, and this is where everybody else in the lobby here has a chance to pick up some points. There's still 4 games left on the day, but let's throw on over to Frankie, Levin, and Minnie to let us know what the leaderboard is looking like after 2.
Thank you very much, guys. It's going to be really interesting to watch day 1 of the grand finals because we're still seeing teams having to adjust to finding those surge tags, but also just getting the measure of the lobby. But Janice and Flixie, Mini Minor, have clearly started running before the rest have really started walking.
Yeah, it just shows they got to that point in the game really nicely. You could see when we went to their POVs, they were still stacked. They still had all of those meds, all of those mats, of course, as well. And ultimately, what actually got them high ground wasn't even their own height take. It was Veno and Tayson actually trying to chop down height, drop them into their box, which then just gave Janice and Flixie the green light to go up. So a really nicely sort of set of circumstances for them, I suppose. So really nicely played from those guys. And of course, they had to capitalize. And if there's one of the teams that we talk about as being a high ground team to look out for, if it isn't Aqua and Noah, it's Janice and Flixie.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys, they're so confident this season and things really are working for them. I think there's a reason why they've come into the tournament considered a favorite by most people. There just aren't really any holes in their game plan all the time, and even when they get put in these tough situations like this, they're not working with the most materials here by any means, right? The mats are low, but they're making things work, and I think it's a big testament to both of them. Of course, Janice already, we know his experience in these moments, but Flixie really rising to the occasion. I actually asked him before Grands, I said, Flixie, do you think you guys have any weaknesses? Like, what's going to stop you from winning Grands? He says, no weaknesses at all. We're winning. And that's the kind of confidence you're going to need to have.